we've had another iconic stream crash. So this is part 2 of 29.2. Hello again, Vic. Just playing the end of the speed draw for this part 2. And yes, it seems like hopefully I was done talking about the characters section. So switch over to finished drawing, and yes. On to the powers, knowledge, and world building bit. Gavel's power is introduced and explained. Then it's used for an action scene first, and later used as part of Tattletale's power explanation. And I think that's excellent. And we kind of get a 3-beat of how Scion's power works. First, we have lungs power, showing the recovery to the point of filling back in faster than Scion burns it away. Then we have a similar concept, kind of the same concept, but with no bounds, with Bastard expanding and stuff, and just bursting forth a bunch of flesh. And then the third beat of it is that Scion is doing that same thing. He's just refilling the flesh. And the way that Gavel's power works into it is, of course, that he can minimize to a certain degree the amount of damage he takes at once through defensive powers. So given that, it seems as though they're dealing no damage to him, and materially they're draining away very small amounts of his resources. So yeah, I thought that was good. I thought that this is like it's like planting and payoff in the same chapter, but it's part of what I was talking about in the chapter end thing, where it's like it can be really hard to balance powers and make them seem like impressive in comparison to each other, because in reality you can just say anything. They just, like that, their possibility space for a sci-fi story like this really is endless, but it feels grounded between the different characters, and yeah, I think that's well done by these other things, kind of level setting. As for other powers stuff, this is of course one of the chapters with the most like effects and things going off. There's so many that Taylor doesn't even like try and list everything that's happening. Like the different things the characters are using to like focus multiple powers in to one place, between Queen of Swords and like Crane the Harmonious. All that stuff's really awesome. Seeing that Scion can intuit and force a second trigger event is really impressive. That like he has that degree of sort of control. Vic says Taylor this whole chapter, and then just the wide eyes emoji. Yeah, she just looking at stuff. Then what else we got? We got some sick ass powers like that chest power. That rules. I love that. Creating stone statue clones in the air is awesome, and the fact that he knew the most intimidating pose a parahuman can do is arms that side. Impressive intuition by the whatever random cape that is. The Seamerg actually firing all the guns at once, that's awesome. The way that Scion seems to think this is an actual threat, and then like backlashes to destroy all the guns with his attack, also cool. like seeing the gavel power, like it's explained so quickly and it seems so cool. And I'm like, God damn, I'd read like a whole arc about this guy easily. Um, and feeling that same way about like multiple of the other characters, I'm just like, yeah, this guy's sick. Um, they introduce and destroy like a bunch of characters all at once, but uh, yeah, I don't know. I think we went through a lot of it in the chapter, but just this is just a great sort of expression of the powers. It's great that the trigger vision happens and informs the characters of the kinds of things that it would be like difficult. It would be difficult to make them learn these things in a way that felt satisfying to the audience. And I think that this threads that needle where, yeah, they're just getting a lore dump, but the reason they're getting the lore dump is so like character driven and pivotal to like Scion's plan. Like he has shown them a vision that he can't see a path forward where they win, and that he's fishing for some future vision where he's able to meet up with his counterpart, and that seemingly he's closing off a lot of avenues for himself while lashing out, because he feels like he's still stably on a path to see the counterpart. Um, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of inferring here from things that we know either from earlier or later, uh, but I really think it's all in there. That's part of like what makes that vision really work for me is that it seems really straightforward and upfront, but the more you think about it, the more they kind of could glean from even the little that Taylor sees uncensored. Anyway, I'll stop gushing about that for a second, and say that the powers explanation of the water bursting forth from the bucket that is Scion, or the well that is Scion, I really like that imagery, and it makes a lot of sense to me. I get why he can like heal, because it's like it sprouts to fill in the any gap where there's a lack of flesh pressure, a lack of Scion body pressure pushing back on it. He's a portal, damn it. Um, and this is also one of the moments when I was like just listening to it for the first time, where despite this kind of being obvious for a while at this point, I was kind of like, oh, now I get it. All of the powers are portaling things in from different universes, like that way that Tattletale sort of explained siphoning energy to keep uh, Taylor's brain powers running. Um, Everything is constantly portaling all the time. That's how everything works. It's all to do with multidimensionality to some degree. And like I know that not every power is, but a lot of them are. And whenever you're like, where does that come from? How did they create that matter? Stuff like that. It's all just portals. Um, it's kind of like that thing Tattletale says, where it's like it's always both, just to different degrees. When she's talking about like powers versus minds, um, and like how much you're affected by your power versus thinking and doing stuff on your own. It's always both. Um, that's the powers. They're always portals, but it's just sometimes it's a very small degree, and sometimes it's incredibly obvious, and your name is Doormaker. Um. Anyway, I think I can move on from this world building stuff, this powers knowledge. Um. Let's talk about the audience participation. MVP of this fight. Um, the answer we got on the Discord is from Vic. It says, King of Cups, having a second trigger in front of Scion is iconic. Horizon to Horizon are